It's a mindset.
You got to know your type of athletes.
Agree.
The harvest is plentiful. The workers are few.
A contender, but I think it really, really gives you an upside.
You call me an OG.
The game is not over.
Right. So every day it's important that we are intentional about making a positive difference because it changes the world in a better way.
Once the expectation becomes the demand, you're golden.
Are you shaking your head at my choice of hat for this episode?
Yeah.
You know what?
You really are you really wearing that?
You want me to change hats?
It's okay. Just do whatever makes you happy.
I'm giving Black Gilligan.
Okay.
You probably don't know nothing about Gilligan's Island.
Okay. Just do what makes you happy.
Hey, I'm gonna do what makes me happy. So, ladies and gentlemen, man, y'all welcome back. Season 2, episode 5, the Coaches Co-op with WNBA Tay. Just a couple of coaches who are fans of the W, love the game, giving our take, our input on what's going on in the game today. Some people would say that it's expert analysis. Some people would say that. So, if you've been tuning in with us, man, we've done some NCAA work. We did our season preview, 2-parter. So now here we are on episode 5. So lots of stuff has happened. Yeah, we've made predictions. We've been wrong about predictions. We've done a lot of stuff. We've done a lot of stuff. Last week I gave an apology. This week, do you have an apology?
Nope.
Or we're going straight to the T?
Straight to the T.
All right, we're going straight to the T. So those of y'all who are regular guests, y'all know, man, we open up every episode with tea time. Tay, what's going on in the WNBA? Where's the tea?
Okay. I will say, I've said this the last few episodes. The WNBA is getting a little too civilized for my liking. However, what I will say is the WNBA All-Star picks have been announced, specifically the All-Star starters. And there's a specific team that for the third year straight, possibly, has 3 All-Star starters. And people are outraged. I always use the word outrage because that seems to be the word of the Women's National Basketball Association. Outrage. They're upset that the Indiana Fever have 3 All-Star starter picks. Now, those, if you don't know, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. Now, I can share my opinion. The argument is that the Indiana Fever are a 7th seed, and they don't necessarily have a winning record. They're about 4 games out of first place. And teams don't understand why they have 3 All-Stars, as if, I don't know. But we have teams like the Atlanta Dream, who are, 2nd seed? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're the 2nd seed in the league, and they have 0 All-Star starters, right? No Angel Reese, no Alicia Gray, no Ryan Howard. So people are upset about this. People are upset about this right now. So, and this is not the first time we've heard this argument. I think it's really amplified right now because, Angel Reese is a really big name in the league, and her fan base is just as big as a Caitlin Clark, Paige Becker's, Asia Wilson fan base. And they're pretty upset.
I'm going to say what President Obama said a few years ago. Don't boo, vote.
Yeah. And I voted daily. There are some days where, your vote counted as double. I'm not, I don't, this is not, and things could be rigged, right? We're not accusing the league of rigging votes, but we can't assume that just because the vote said one thing that they're not doing the opposite, right? Because I know fans are voting, but you know, are they? Are you guys? Are we voting properly? Maybe Indiana Fever fans just really showed up and showed out for their starting their big three, right? Versus Atlanta fans. So is Angel Reese absolutely awesome? Are the dream rolling? Also, I think we have to keep in consideration that the Dream play really good team basketball, right? I haven't necessarily seen anybody just dominating night in and night out. They're just playing really good team basketball under Carl Smesko, right? Whereas for the Fever, if those three players don't perform, it's a L.
Yeah. So let me say this. Number one, Atlanta is actually in the 4th spot right now.
Okay,
They're in
so
the 4th
they've
spot.
dropped a couple of spots.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk about our standings in a little bit. So, is Aaliyah Boston an all-star? Yes. Is Kelsey Mitchell an all-star? Yes.
Yeah.
Is Caitlin Clark an all-star? Yes. Should they be all-star starters? No. Because the team is, I think, 11-8. Now, but none of that matters because the fans get the opportunity to vote.
Right.
So if you did not exercise your opportunity to vote, right, then storm the Capitol. Okay?
Right.
Storm the Capitol.
And so, and so there's some and so there's that brings us to the other debate, the debate that's based off of this conflict right now is, does team record reflect who should be an all-star or an all-star starter? And I've always said, I mean, I think it directly impacts awards like MVP, Rookie of the Year, etc. But I don't think it should impact all-star voting. If you're a really good player on a really bad team, you know, if you're, and mind you, this is not a really bad team. None of these teams really are really bad teams. But if you're a really, really good player on a really bad team, you know, should that take your all-star pick away from you? Your all-star status away from you? I think not. Some of the names that we heard were people were upset about: Marina Mabrey, Kelsey Plum, and Angel Reese. Marina Mabrey, I think, has not been consistent enough to be an all-star starter this season. I think she had an amazing 50 plus piece basketball game a couple of weeks ago. Kelsey Plum also had a 40-piece game this season so far, you know, but I don't think that those two players have been consistent. Angel Reese, yes, she's been consistent. She's always going to be consistent. She's a consistent rebounder. She's a consistent force to her team, you know, but just because a player, you know, comes out with a 40 or 30, you know, every now and then, but if they're not consistent, you know, is that really an argument to make? So anyway, just food for thought. Food for thought. Does your team's record reflect whether or not you as a player should be an all-star pick? Question of the day.
That's actually a great question, because I'm gonna pull something up. You know, I can't never work this thing, but can y'all see that, everybody? All right, so I want y'all to see this, okay? So you can stop your whining that we don't want to do it like that. Do we want to do it like this? We don't want to do it like that. We want to do it like this. All right. Actually, we got to be on the screen. We're the stars of the show. All right. For fans who participated in all-star voting, accounted for 50% of the vote, while current players and the media panel accounted for 25% each, okay? After all the votes were tallied, players were ranked by position, okay, within each of the 3 voting groups. So right here on the screen, let's look. Player rank. Paige Beckers was ranked number 1 by the players.
Consistent. That's consistent.
Yeah. So she's fan rank 1, media rank 2, player rank 1.
Awesome.
No controversy there.
None.
Olivia Miles, the number 2 vote getter for guards, right?
Yeah.
Well, not number 2 vote getter, but number 2 ranked based on the weighted score. fan rank 5, media rank 1, player rank 3.
Yeah.
Prince made a song years and years ago. It was called Controversy. So here we go. Caitlin Clark, fan rank 2,
Yeah.
media rank 3, player rank Lem.
Yeah, that sounds about right. These I haven't been surprised with any of these numbers. Fan, player, or media.
Right. So now let's talk about Kelsey Plum, because y'all are, you know, people have been saying these people should be here. Kelsey Plum, fan 6, media 5, player rank 12. So now let's look at this next one. Sonia Citron,
Mm-hmm.
fan rank 10, media rank 10, player rank 4.
Yeah.
So the players and the media and the fans for some of these are looking very different. So obviously, well, I mean, not say obviously, put an asterisk there. Obviously is my word. Okay. So even looking at Marina Mabry, ranked 4 in the player vote, 12 in the fan rank, 6 in the media rank. So what this is looking like when we look at all, first there's a balance there. Cool. Caitlin Clark got there on balance. But if we look at just this player rank, Sonia Citron didn't get there because of the balance. Marina Mabry didn't get there because of the balance. And we got 11 ranked by the players, Caitlin Clark, 12th ranked by the players, Kelsey Plum. These are key bucket getters, but in the eyes of the player vote, they're overrated. They're overrated. Now let's look at the front court. Angel Reese, she's 6 across the board. So pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent. 1, 2, and 3. Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Jessica Shepard. Pretty consistent across the board. When we get to Aaliyah Boston, number 1 in the fan rankings, number 5 in the media rankings, number 8 in the player rankings.
Yeah.
So this makes me wonder who's really upset.
Yeah.
Maybe the players are really upset. Maybe
It's the fans.
players.
It's the fans. And just like, you know, those numbers reflect, right? So given Aaliyah Boston, for example, number 1, that just means Indiana Fever fans showed up and showed out. Right? They showed up and showed out. Right. And the players, what is she? You said 5 or 8?
She's 8 in the player rankings.
Yeah, you know, and that's top 10, right? Top 10. So still pretty good, still pretty high, still pretty consistent. I don't know what 7 players. Fans show up and show out and vote for your team's best players. The ones who you think should be all-stars. We know what to do going forward. You get on that app and vote.
That's the number one thing, you know,
Yeah.
being that the fan vote accounts for 50% of it. So I'll address what you were getting ready to say, but stopped yourself. You're like, I don't know what 7 players. Well, according to the player vote, the 7 players that are better than Aaliyah Boston are Asia Wilson, Stewart,
Right.
Jessica Shepard, Gabby Williams, Natasha Howard, Angel Reese, and Nneka Ogwumike.
Well, why is Gabby Williams?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit it. Next segment.
All right, that was tea time. So this brings us to Washington Watch. Okay. Got some good stuff here for Washington Watch, man. So not only are the babies balling, but right now, as the standings sit, and we'll talk about this in a second, they're sitting in a playoff spot. So, so the Mystics on the 28th of June, a few days ago, beat the Portland Fire in 4 overtimes. Game lasted 3 hours and 35 minutes, tying the WNBA record for the most extra periods ever played. The wild part, the Washington Mystics have been involved in both quadruple overtime games in WNBA history. All right. Sonia Citron, 32.
Mm-hmm.
Michaela Onyenwere, 30. Kiki Iriafen, 27. Right? Citron played 52 minutes and 33 seconds, 6 most minutes played in WNBA history, and did not sit after the third quarter.
Wow.
So Georgia Amore did go down. So, when we talk about the Washington Mystics and their injury history, that's not good. So she went down on a non-contact play in the third quarter. Does Washington have the depth to sustain? Because here's another injury. So right now they're sitting in a playoff spot, right? Do they have the depth to sustain it? Can they stay there?
I'll continue. My answer is going to be consistent. I'll say no. They who's sitting? Give me this. Who's sitting underneath Washington? So I'm assuming they're in spot number 8.
They are currently in spot number 8. Currently underneath Washington in the 9th spot are the Toronto Tempo. I don't know what's going on with my screen. I had to look all the way over there.
And number 10?
Number 10, the LA Sparks, who are currently plagued by injury as well.
Yeah, so I personally I don't think they have the depth to sustain with those. I'd give the Sparks, I'm not a Sparks fan, but I'll give them some credit. They have some veteran players who I think, can really get them over the hump and possibly get them to that 8th spot. And then Toronto, they were in a playoff they were in playoff position not too long ago. So I know Marina Mabry sat a couple of games with either a leg or back injury. I'm not sure. But I think she's played after that. So, missing a couple of games or so. Brittany Sykes, I'm not sure if Brittany Sykes recovered or not. So we got to check the injury report for Brittany Sykes. But if Toronto can maintain their health, then, I possibly see them catching Washington. Definitely can see LA coming to take them out of that spot as well. So, if they don't remain healthy, I don't think they have. I mean, and I think that they have some great players on their bench. I just don't think that they have the experience.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yet.
All right. So, about a month or so ago, Sydney Johnson, had to be held back.
Yeah.
So was his meltdown the best thing that could have happened to Washington? Right?
Possibly. It's always good to see your coach. It's always good, which is a crazy thing to say. It's like reverse psychology. I mean, it's like it's a known fact that when your coach is passionate and they get angry. I won't say angry, I'll say passionate, and they're fussing at the refs. They get into the media and they have a lot to say in the media press conferences. It riles up your players because they feel like they have to perform for you and back you up. They want to back up your passion, right? Because what good is it when your coach has so much to say and your players aren't showing it, right? So the players always want to come back, right, and show the same level of intensity that their coach is. So of course, I think, when a coach gets fired up, they get a technical, they get ejected, whatever the case may be, players want to respond the proper way.
Okay. So last topic in Washington Watch, we just talked about the All-Stars. Okay.
Yeah.
Sonia Citron, averaging 21.5 on 54% shooting. Okay. So definitely she and Kiki Iriafen are tracking to be All-Stars again. So maybe Washington does know what they're doing in the draft. If Sonia Citron, we don't think this is going to happen, but if she doesn't make the reserves on July 7th, what does that say?
I don't know. I think that would be fraud. I don't really have the words. I think that would be fraud. I think that we could say that that's rigged. It's clear that Sonia Citron has been a very tough to guard player, right? Teams have had a horrible a tough time guarding Sonia Citron in year 2. She's only in year 2. So if we don't see Sonia Citron as an all-star reserve, I think we could say the voting may be rigged a bit. But also, on a positive note, we could really just say that our league is really competitive. And we have lots of players, who are performing at a high level, the level that Sonia Citron is performing on as well. So we could also just say it's really competitive.
It is. It is. So speaking of competitive, let me go ahead and share my screen again. So now we're going to look at our standings update. All right.
Ooh.
All righty. Here we go. Let's get us down here at the bottom. So I probably should put it on present, right?
Probably.
There we go. So predictions versus reality. Let's see where we actually are right now.
Not
Okay.
doing well. Not doing
So
well.
here are the standings. So of course the Lynx sitting at the top of the hill, 15-4 with the Aces right behind them. The Aces lost in the Commissioner's Cup the other night. Injured Asia Wilson didn't play. Look at the Golden State Valkyries sitting right there in that 3 spot, proving that last year was not a fluke.
Yeah.
Then we got Atlanta in the 4 spot, the Liberty in the 5 spot, Dallas Wings, Indiana Fever, both at 11-8, sitting 6 and 7. And then in the 8 and 9 spots, the Mystics and the Tempo. So again, so if you look in the columns here, so I had Minnesota at number 9. You had them at 8. They're definitely outpacing. We talk about this every week. We both had the Aces in the top spot, so they're keeping pace with Minnesota. You didn't pick Golden State at all. You didn't have them in your top 9. I had them at 6. We both had Atlanta. We both had the Liberty. Different orders. I say Dallas is not going to be there. I did some digging today because I'm like, man, let me really look at Dallas. Let me do a deep dive. Dallas, if Dallas makes the playoffs, if they stay healthy, I'm going to go ahead and say this because I've been a Dallas hater. Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing. They are pretenders. Okay. They are pretenders. They are not contenders, but they're sitting in that 6th spot. They are currently 3-7 against the 5 teams that are ahead of them. Now, being that they have played 19 games and 10 of those 19 are against the 5 teams in front of them, that tells us that the backside of their schedule is going to be filled with the less competitive teams in the W, the teams that have losing records. So if they get in, that's going to be because their schedule was very, very top heavy. Okay. Indiana, they're 11-8. Listen, they are what they are. So they get a lot of hype. They are the most viewed, watched team in the WNBA. Again, we talked about this early. They have the number 1 number of nationally televised games, and they don't deserve it. They're 11-8. You are what your record says you are, and 11-8. But the league is driven by star power. So let me just get off of that. So we both had Indiana in there, and then the Mystics and the Tempo, right? We both missed out on them. I don't think Toronto's going to be there, especially with Brittany Sykes. She's still out. She's still going to miss a little bit more time. But that means Marina Mabry is going to get to jack it up. So where are we now? So we both have 6 out of the 9 teams, okay? So it's a tie. Minnesota is number 1. Nobody called it. Chicago, who was my number 2 pick, is 6-13. We've talked about that before. Both expansion teams are holding their own. Yeah. And then Connecticut is dead last. There's 2 places that you never want to finish, no matter what the competition is. And that's last and dead last. And Connecticut is dead last. They're bound for Houston. So
yes, they're vibing. They're just they're making TikToks and vibing. And I love it. And I'm just ready for next year.
they're just enjoying it. So
Yeah.
the teams I got right of my top 9 are Vegas, Indy, New York, Atlanta, Golden State, and Minnesota. Missed out on Chicago. Missed out on LA. Interesting to see what LA does with Kelsey Plum's injury. We saw how the players had her ranked. So I think she can get a bucket, right? But when I looked at a graphic the other day of the top scoring games this year in the W, and LA was on the list like 3 times, right? So they're just not guarding anybody, right? So it doesn't matter how many buckets Plum was getting. She's probably giving up just as many. I need to look at her plus minus numbers. I had Phoenix getting into that last spot. I think when we get down to that last month or so of the season, I think Phoenix is going to be knocking on the door. I think they got a little too much experience for them to continue to be bad. Your 6 teams correct. Vegas, Indy, New York, Atlanta, Dallas, and Minnesota. Missed on Chicago, missed on LA. You had Phoenix at that number 8 spot. So I think your list has a chance to bump to 7 and 9. I think we actually both have an opportunity to get to that 7 out of 9. I don't think, I can't hate on Dallas. I think Dallas is going to end up getting there. Would love to see Washington get in, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Toronto, even though they're sitting right there in that 9 spot, I don't think Toronto is going to be there when it's all said and done. So that's our standing update so far. What are your thoughts?
My favorite thing, I've said this a few times, maybe not on here, but I've said it in conversation. My favorite thing about this season so far is that the standings are so tight, right? Usually it's clear, right? It's clear, right? New York is 35-1. And these are obviously stretch numbers. Vegas is 27-2, right? It's clear that who's gonna finish top, right? But Minnesota's won 15 games. The 6th and 7th seed, what are they? 11 games, right? So only 4 games out, right? So at any point, teams can make a push for any spot, right? All it takes is a winning streak, a losing streak, and teams, right? We could see, if not consistent, right? We can see these standings continue to shift. So I've really enjoyed that. I need somebody to shake it up. Right. We talked about Phoenix possibly being able to make a push. I'm not a Phoenix fan. Don't really want them to make a push. I need them to make a push for the sake of my standings. However, would be perfectly fine if I didn't get to see Phoenix in the playoffs. I do have to ask, what makes Dallas what makes this team pretenders? Because I wholeheartedly am not a Dallas fan. We have to preface by saying I am not a Dallas fan, but I don't understand why that team of experience and star players, right? Wouldn't, right? We're talking about Enrique. We're talking about Paige Beckers, who was 1 overall, fan vote, media vote, player vote. We're talking about Jessica Shepard, who has been having an outstanding year, who has experience with the winning team. Alana Smith has experience with the winning team, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing additional players. Talking about a great shooter who may be young but has experience in winning in AZ Fudd. What makes this team pretenders?
So number one, not necessarily playoff pretenders, right? I think they will have a chance to get in because of the back end of their schedule is much softer than the front end. But when I say pretenders, they are championship pretenders. They've lost twice to Atlanta, 3 times to Minnesota. They beat Vegas twice. But when they
have lost 3 times to Minnesota.
Right. They've lost to Golden State. They've beaten New York once, right? But they'll play New York again, and who knows how that matchup goes. But 3-7 against the teams that are above them. And then I'm not crazy. This is not based on a thorough study, but I'm not crazy about Jose Fernandez.
I can see that. You're not the first to say it. So,
Yeah.
but we have to we have to continue giving him an opportunity to showcase his
Right.
abilities. So I think he's done a pretty good job with what he's been doing.
So,
He was under some fire, but he's responded.
yeah, so I'm watching them play Vegas the other night. No, I'm watching them play Minnesota at my parents' house, and we're watching the game. And I'm watching them go what seemed to be long stretches with Enrique not on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, so when I'm
I've
looking at
seen
the box
this.
score and AZ Fudd 37 minutes, Enrique 25 minutes. Huh?
Yeah, and we can possibly say, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. If we're talking specifically about those two players, maybe think, use your coaching cap, right? What does AZ do that Enrique doesn't? Or what does AZ do at a really high level that Enrique doesn't? What raised her draft stock? Because it wasn't just her ability to score. Why was AZ's draft stock as high as it was?
So they did give her some kudos for her defensive effort.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe, we don't know what his coaching philosophy is, but maybe AZ is shown, right, a different level of intensity on the defensive end of the floor, right? So we have to use our coaching caps, because how many times have we been in the position where, fans, parents, just spectators have judged us and not understood a substitution that we've made, but there are things that maybe we just don't see. Maybe AZ is really letting some other team stars have it or wreaking havoc on the defensive end. And maybe Enrique isn't putting in that effort. Now that's completely a guess. That's an inference.
Right.
That could very well not be true. Right. And then I've also seen fans be upset at the lack of minutes for Maddie Seegers. Maddie Seegers has been very accurate, efficient. And I think that Dallas fans want to see Maddie Seegers play more. So you're not the first to say that. So that was just me going out on a limb. But you are right. You're not the first to point that out. Yeah.
And so I'm looking at the roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the most recent game. So Enrique 25 minutes, but she was 1 for 9, and she's negative 14 in the box score, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Maddie Seegers 23 minutes, she's +3 in the box score. Alicia Clark, DNP, coach's decision.
Yeah.
I know she's long in the tooth, but come on, nothing.
Yeah, she's been very limited.
Haley Jones, another high IQ player, kind of like a glue type of player. Okay.
Skip.
I'm just saying, DNP,
Yeah, DNP for Alicia Clark is I've been noticing that her minutes have been, but I do say when I do watch her play, she has a high tendency to foul. So we have to, I'm gonna just say maybe Jose is a defensive minded coach, because when I watch Clark play, she is, and maybe that's her job, right? Maybe it's okay for her to come in and rack up the fouls that your star players can't, but she is a fouling queen out there. Respectfully, I love Alicia Clark, but geez, she's racking them up. Respectfully, she's racking them up when I watch.
Okay, so that wasn't the box score I thought I was looking at.
Oh boy.
Oh, let me go back. Okay, here we are. Now I'm looking at this. So I went back a game. Okay. Mm-hmm. Lord have mercy. Enrique. So the back-to-back games, she shoots 1 for 9, 1 for 10. And she's negative 16.
Oh boy.
And negative 14 in back-to-back games. Okay. AZ Fudd. Yep. All right, let's change the subject.
Next.
We're gonna change the subject. All right. Where are we? All right, we're about 34 minutes in. Let's go to yay or nay.
Yay
or nay. Yay or nay. Marina Mabrey has never been an all-star in her career.
Wow, I did
Never.
not know that. Fun fact.
Has never been an all-star. The coaches vote for the reserves on July 7th. 53-piece the other night. Is one historic night enough? Or does she need sustained dominance to be considered one of the better guards in the league? Yay or nay?
Yay. Enough. It's enough. The 50-piece performance is enough. Not only that, having her team in possible playoff position, an expansion team is enough. That's enough.
Okay. All right. The New York Liberty, they won the Commissioner's Cup. So them winning the Commissioner's Cup, even though Asia Wilson was injured, right?
Mhm.
So does winning the Commissioner's Cup make the Liberty the front runner to win the 2026 championship? Yay or nay?
I'll say nay, just because we know this is a competitive league. We know this is a competitive league. So I'll say nay to that.
All right. Alyssa Thomas gets the flagrant 2. The 1-game ban. 1-game suspension for Alyssa Thomas.
I thought that was
it
AI.
enough?
I thought that was AI. I didn't know that was real. I didn't know that really happened.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was AI.
Now, so for people who have been watching the WNBA, that was light. That was very light.
That was light for Alyssa Thomas.
That was very light for Alyssa Thomas. And in this case, it actually looked unintentional.
Yeah.
I don't think she intentionally did it. Now, if you've been watching the game, you know Alyssa Thomas is not going to pass up an opportunity to bang you.
Yeah.
She's not going to pass it up.
I think that where people, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, not that bad. It wasn't until she stood up and did the whole step over that made it look a little bit dramatic, right? Like we didn't need to, we could have probably kept that part. Maybe try to assisting to help up or something to make it look a little less malicious. Yeah, that's what these women do. We can't pretend like they aren't kind to each other sometimes.
That is not in her character.
If you just had your Alyssa Thomas had her forearm in somebody's neck, I think it'd be gracious to offer to help you up. However, that's not in her character, like you said. But in order for her to do a little bit of damage control, I probably would have tried to help her up. Right. I didn't think it looked that bad until she stepped over her and continued on about the play. So
yeah. So was
nay.
1 game enough? Nay, she should have got more than
yay.
game.
No, yay.
Oh, yeah.
1 game was enough. I thought the question was going to go, was a suspension deserved? Was a ban deserved? Nay. Is 1 game enough? Yay.
Yeah. And then getting death threats is crazy. But
Yeah.
it's crazy only in the sense that
boy,
I'm a social studies teacher. Right. So I taught about the history of America.
Yeah.
So it ain't crazy, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
So for her to get the death threats, it's actually the way things have transpired since CC has been in the league. It's crazy that she's getting death threats, but at the same time, it ain't crazy. All right. Yeah. Sonia Citron, yay or nay? Is DC being overlooked? The fact that she wasn't voted as an all-star starter.
Nay.
DC being overlooked. Nay, they're not being overlooked?
Nay.
Okay. Listen, I mean, we got them on Washington watch from day one, so they're not being overlooked here, people.
Yeah.
All right. So 4 overtime game, 3 hours, 35 minutes. Georgia A. Moore goes down with the injury. Sonia Citron plays 52 minutes. Should the WNBA implement kind of like a what do they call the thing where you got to get to a certain score? God dang it, it was on my tongue and then I just forgot it. The something ending, the Ely ending or whatever. They do it like
know what you're talking about. I don't know the term for it. They do it in unrivaled-ish, something like that.
Yeah, I know they do it like in some of the other things. And you gotta get once you get to a certain point in the game, the clock goes off and the winner is the one who gets to 72 first.
Yeah, that's kind of how they do it in Unrivaled, right?
Elam
Point.
ending.
Okay. Yeah.
The Elam ending. So,
He made
should the WNBA implement something like the Elam ending to protect the players? Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I agree with you, but that's what I
Put
was
the
able
team
to
on your back. Put the team on your back. Take us out of overtime. No.
Yeah. All right, Tay. 40 minutes in, man, we have actually covered a lot of ground in 40 minutes. I was trying to get Jade to come in because I told her yesterday we were recording at 4. So she was like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I get off at 4. I'm like, all right, cool. Because her segment is gonna be called Jade's Grades. So I sent her some things to give grades on. I text her, I said, hey, we're recording at 6. She said, I thought it was at 4. I'm going to open gym.
Oh boy. Okay. Well.
Right. So no Jade's grades this week. This takes us to Tay's parlays. Friday night games. So let's start with Minnesota and New York Liberty. This is gonna be a good one. Stewie. We're gonna start off with Brianna Stewart. Points, rebounds, assists, 31.5. You going over or under?
That's so hard. I don't know. Always got to respect Stewie, so we'll say over.
All right. Same game, same Friday night game. We're going to pick a Minnesota player for this one. Let's go with Natasha Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with Natasha Howard. 15.5 points. Over or under?
Over.
All right. Chicago is going to Las Vegas Aces. Okay. So we had a lot to say about this young lady on the last episode. Sloot called her up. So we're going to see if we can call her up as well. Azare Stevens in the Chicago Aces game, 10.5 points, over or under?
I would hope over. I would absolutely hope that she could score 11 points.
Yeah, we're rooting for Azare. We want Azare
rooting
to
for
get
you.
It together, right?
Yes.
So let's look at man, Chicago is so bad. Let's look at Azare's numbers.
Yeah, Azare, you have to give us 11 points.
Can Azare, let's see what she did last game. Okay. So, man, poor Chicago. They're trying.
They're trying. They are.
They're trying. All right. So, yeah, they listen. They beat up on Portland.
Yeah.
Put up 100 twice in a row on Portland. And got close to 100 against Vegas. So in the last time they played. So let's see what she did in the last game. They gave up 107. That's the problem. Azare. Okay, Azare. 24 points on 8 for 14 shooting.
Thank God.
3 of 6 from 3. Okay, Azare.
That's what's to be expected. Thank you. Yes, Azare needs to score 11 points. Period.
All right, Azare. In the words of Bobby Boucher, you can do it. All right, Azare, listen, I need you to go out there and do that thing. Thank you all for joining us. Season 2, episode 5 of the Coaches Co-op. Listen, we got a steady dose of WNBA talk here on this podcast, but you can also go and watch all of the other episodes as well that are about athletic leadership. This person sitting right next to me in the Funky Four podcast studios is going to be a guest very soon because she sits in the position of athletic leadership. Listen, I tell everybody who watches this podcast this: if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Preparation. Listen, for WNBA Tay, my name is Coach P. My government name is, if you don't know, that means you don't know me. And we're going to see y'all next time. Anything, Tay? Any last words?
Nothing.
We out.